Hi, welcome to my channel, the Death Genie Conversations about Death. Today is May 21st, 2023, and I've been thinking about doing this for quite some time. I'm new to this whole thing, so I'm going to do the best that I can and get better as we go. But I have some important information and experiences and knowledge about death, and I think it's about time that I share those. First, this is going to be an introductory, and I'm going to kind of go into a couple of different things, just kind of who I am and my experiences, and then hopefully to follow. The goal of this channel is to create a kind of collective platform so that people can start conversating about death. So the name, Death Genie, a little bit of my background. I come from a long history of funeral homes, morticians, coroners, numerous generations. I tell people that I've been kind of born into death. So it's kind of all that I've ever known. And I believe that it enables me to help people through conversation with the longevity of my life of being in such a topic. I went through school and education, emergency medicine, and then I landed into the world of the medical legal death investigator. And I progressed through that industry with such a love and need to help families after the death of their loved ones, to the point of where I achieved the diplomatic status of the medical legal death investigation. It's kind of a board, same way as any type of a industry. You have to take a test to make sure that you kind of know what you're talking about. So I achieved that level, as well as my professional title was the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner Investigator for 13 counties in the state that I live in. I had over a couple hundred investigators, and that was an amazing job, career, occupation, experience. There's nothing like the world of medical examiner investigators. We're known kind of as the last responder. Nobody really talks about it. Things like that. After a good career, a couple decades, I decided that in our industry, it's a conflict of interest and some of the family's worst times to even give suggestions of a funeral home. And it's actually against the law. It's a conflict of interest and against the law. So I thought about it long and hard, and I had a wonderful career with wonderful people, and I kind of threw myself into retirement in April of 2022. And I decided that I was going to be on the other side of the table to help people start talking and planning their own funeral homes before death. And I've done very well with helping families with that. After I retired, I achieved my license to be a pre-need planner, and I did that in 3 weeks, and that's pretty unheard of. Right after that time, my mom died. So it gives you a lot to think about, and it kind of brought my whole entire world of experiencing of death to a full circle. And so I felt for so many years, and I've talked to so many families and tried to help so many people with the aspect of death itself, or people that have their loved ones pass. And I have found something through all of my education of studying different religions and demographics around the world, how different people, how they bury and take care lovingly of their ones that have passed, And then how can we help, and how can I help people to have their hearts start to heal? And so with that, I have been trying to figure out a way for quite some time to talk about a platform where people can talk about perceptions and beliefs and deal with the subject that is so hard to deal with before it happens. And I guess that's what I see the most. I have seen more dead than most military in my career. And I've tried to help many, many families and neighbors and the care teams, the first responders, the law enforcement through those times, because it affects everyone. And so I'll bring you to the name of the death genie. Why death genie? I was arriving at one of our counties, a pretty large county, to a scene one day, and as I was coming up to the scene, you get to know law enforcement and different law enforcement agencies, and the rescue crews and stuff are usually gone by the time we get there. But you always kind of get a report with the personnel on scene so that you can know what you're walking into and help the best that you can. And we're all there to help the families and friends and anybody that is at that scene. And when I was walking up in a respectful way, because it's kind of like our office by our vehicles, a lot of the officers were saying things like, here comes the Grim Reaper, here comes the Reaper, here comes the Death Angel, all in respect, but for what we do. Sometimes you have to bring humor into something, not in a disrespectful way, but it helps people kind of get through the situation. So I, with the type of person that I am, said, I'm not some cloaky, dark, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. And they laughed, and one gentleman they started saying a bunch of different names of what I reminded them of, and coming up with a nickname, because that's just kind of what you do. And one young officer, to this day, I wish I knew his name, blurted out Death Genie. And it just stuck. It's not something that they would yell at me through the streets or if they saw, but if I was going up to a scene, they would respectfully and lovingly kind of gave me that nickname. So I thought it was only fitting, and I needed to explain it because it's not a name that you hear much. In all actuality, any subject concerning death is pretty much taboo, especially in our Western culture. Religion, different types of belief, it's all good. It really is. But nobody talks about death beforehand. And I've got a couple of theories about that from my experience. But I've also seen the amount of woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's an epidemic, folks. It's important just to have general conversations. And let me tell you, let me help you with one of the fears right now. Just because you talk about it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And it doesn't mean that you're going to do it. Okay? It can be any type of conversation. What do you think will happen? What do you want to happen? It offers hope. It gives people things to talk about. There are so many different aspects of death that I'm going to just do videos on, just to talk, to try to help heal people's hearts. I'm going to touch on things from different scenes, mannerisms of death, situations, but more so, I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to talk to the people that death has happened to, your loved ones, your neighbors, even old friends. And I'm going to help your hearts with just giving suggestions, things to think about, things that I've seen in my years and years of decades of trying to help people through it. Make it so that it's not such a taboo. I believe that it's important. It's important to have a collective platform of just conversation. Just make it so that it's comfortable. There's 3 things in life that are inevitable. We're born, we live, and then we die. The first 2 are covered. We know that. We were born and we're living. The third one that we all have in common that's inevitable, nobody talks about. At least in this hemisphere. There are other religions and cultures that from early ages, they speak to their children. It's a part of life. It's not just a celebration after death. It's a celebration of living. And rituals and cultural influences and things that take place after death are all good. But it's important for us to be able to talk about that and not have fear. So I was in my position as the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner Investigator through the pandemic. And I got a theory. And my theory is 6 degrees of separation. We've all heard it. We know, we pretty much know what it is. And I'd like to think of it as it is so important now to talk about because it's almost a 3 degrees of separation. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that you either had a close loved one, friend, or a friend of a friend. So someone directly, someone that you knew, or someone that you knew had somebody that passed during COVID. That's pretty amazing. And if you didn't, you knew someone down the street, someone close, and it's hard, but there's nothing anywhere. Trust me, I know. You should see me try to find some subtitles and things to start this channel, and there's nothing. There's nothing. There are some really good tools and really good techniques and really good things, and I'm here to tell you it's all good. Just to listen to, just to conversate about. It's your perception, it's your belief. There's no arguing about it. There's no your way is better than my way when it comes to death. And I'm not talking about how you die. I'm talking about how you conversate and cope and love on each other and your neighbor and how important it is. We're seeing some more videos and information start to come out about it. And that's good, because that's the only way that we're going to take care of the fear. There's so much fear around death that sometimes it's debilitating that people don't live. And I'm just trying to make it better with just sharing some of my experiences to do that. So I promise that I will research, give facts, good information on all different kinds of topics to help heal your heart, to just start the conversation. Today's a special day for me. I am out here in a beautiful farm. Come here, boy. Come here. Come. Come on. My son says just stay to the topic, but this is important. This is my buddy, my Mav. But it's important for me because today is May 21st, 2023, And it's the anniversary of 1 year of my mom's death. And my mom, oh, she loved horses. And I can talk about her finally with love and laughter and memories. And I got through the first year of first, and I'll talk about that. I have been in people's lives that have lost husbands, wives, significant others, spouses, children, grandparents, neighbors, best friends. I have been involved in every aspect of death. And I'm here to tell you that we just need to open up the conversation. And when you open up the conversation, it doesn't have to be a, so, how do you think you're gonna die? It's not about that. Like I said, it's about living. What are the comfortable things? What do the people like? What are ways that you can just know? Because the conversation needs to happen. Because I can tell you one thing. After death, it's too late. And let me tell you, I talked to my mom about death, and I had no guilt during this year. Yeah, I did pretty well. But I also know that it was hard. And when I talk about guilt, it's sometimes the woulda, shoulda, coulda, but it's also what could I have done more, and hug your kids closer and your parents harder, and all of that. And we hear it all the time, but we just need to start the conversations. So with that said, I look forward to doing more of these, and I will do the best that I can. Give me a little bit of break in the comments, if you will. I'm a little new to this, so ease up. But if you have any suggestions, feel free. Like I said, I'm all new to this, and I'm researching. But it was really important for me to just kind of literally pull the trigger on this day of so much importance, to just have a good conversation. So, as I like to always say, stay upright, and I'll be around.